Guys, remember how after the 2020 election, Donald Trump never really admitted that he lost and he never really conceded, but he eventually started saying things like the next administration. And we were kind of like, that's kind of a concession. And he said to Sean Hannity last week, we didn't win. And we said, oh, it's kind of Trump admitting that he didn't win. Trump has now resurfaced in a completely laughable, embarrassing, and pathetic excuse for an interview on a program called Just the News on a channel, I guess, called Real America's Voice. I don't know what any of this stuff is. To tell the interviewer, David Brody, that Trump never admitted defeat and that Trump still has not conceded the 2020 election. It has to be seen to be believed. And that is exactly what we are going to do. Here is the first clip. Listen to this insanity.
I want to start with something you told Sean Hannity last week. The headlines were about how you admitted defeat in the 2020 election when you said we didn't win.
Right.
Is that an accurate headline? Did you admit defeat? I just want to understand that.
No, I never admitted defeat.
By the way, how bad does he sound? No, I never admitted defeat.
Have a lot of things happening right now. I think that was an election that was, I don't think, all you have to do is read the newspapers and see what's coming out now. No, I never, the word is concede. I have not conceded.
So there is Trump saying, I have not conceded and I have not admitted defeat. Now, remember, conceding defeat is not legally relevant and it's not legally binding in any way. This is how Trump strings along his ignorant followers. Oh, wow. That was a signal. Trump didn't technically admit defeat. Something's coming. He hasn't conceded. Conceding is legally irrelevant. It's electorally irrelevant. It's a formality that normal adult politicians engage in when they've lost, but it is legally meaningless. And Trump is also straight up lying. He said to Hannity, we didn't win. He wildly said, we'll see what happens with that, alluding to this return to office in August. But this is just last week. Remember this, guys?
You ever considered it, and are you considering it?
Well, I am, and frankly, if you think of it, that's what I've been doing and talking about for a long time, and I guess that's why we got them by surprise in 16, and in 20 we did much better than we did in 16, and shockingly, we were supposed to win easily at 64 million votes, and we got 75 million votes, and we didn't win, but
we
let's
didn't
see what
win.
happens on that. The whole thing is...
But we'll see what happens on that. Trump said it. Now he denies saying it. He lies all the time, period. And he now plays coy with the term concession, and it's all just a joke. This entire interview was bonkers. Trump continues to blame Mike Pence for accepting the 2020 election results as if he had a choice, right? He's still disappointed in Pence.
I don't want to listen to the New York Times. They always like to write about the relationship between you and Mike Pence. Can you explain that to us right now? There's a portion of the MAGA crowd, you know the deal. They're never going to forgive the vice president for not kicking those certain disputed election results back to state legislatures. What's your take on Mike Pence and how what's the relationship like?
Well, I've always liked Mike, and I'm very disappointed that he didn't send it back to the legislatures. When you have more votes than you have voters in some cases.
Now, that's not true. You didn't have more votes than voters. And again, disappointed. Pence couldn't do anything. Pence couldn't do anything. And Trump's own followers don't know that. They now heckle Pence as traitor and unpatriotic and whatever else.
When you have the kind of things that are that were known in many cases, they were known then, but they're certainly getting better and better known now. I was disappointed that he didn't send it back. I felt he had the right to send it back, and he should have sent it back.
He is completely wrong. Pence had no ability to do anything. He could have tried some stuff that would have been historically humiliating. He really couldn't do anything. But it doesn't matter in the world of Trump.
That's my opinion, and I think if he did, I think those look at Pennsylvania now, look at Georgia, look at Arizona, and look at others. They're all now looking at what happened during that election. I think
nothing will come of it. Trump continues to string his followers along. Nothing will come of these fake audits.
I think you would have found that you might very well have a different president right now had he sent
You
him
would
back.
not. You would not. What you would have would be an even more humiliated former vice president and former president, Pence and Trump. That's what you would have. But Pence couldn't do anything about it. Trump also asked about 2024. His comments there are sort of interesting.
On 2024, by the way, here's my take, and I'm curious to get your take. Would it be accurate to say that if a supermajority of the candidates that you're supporting right now, if they win in the midterms and Republicans take back the House and the Senate, that would make it more likely that you would run at that point? Is that true? What do you think?
No, I don't think so, but I think that's what is going to happen.
Now, this is super interesting. Trump is asked, are you more likely to run if the people you support in 22 do well? And Trump says no. It's the wrong question. And the right question shouldn't even be asked of Trump because he'll just lie. The right question is, are you more likely to win if the people you support in 22 do well? And that's ultimately what this hinges on and hangs on. And that's what we've been talking about. Trump needs to successfully have his coalition, the Cawthorns and the Boeberts and the Marjorie Taylor Greens, they need to do well in 2022 to bolster Trump for 24. I think Trump may well run regardless of whether he does well in 22, but his chances will be greatly diminished if the people he supports don't win in the midterm election. Let's continue.
My endorsements have meant a lot. We're almost undefeated, very close to undefeated. And
understand that with Trump at the helm of the Republican ship, they lost the House in 2018, they lost the Senate in 2020, and they lost the White House in 2020. Trump undefeated, that's wrong in a literal sense, but the spirit of what he's saying, he's been, in a sense, a disaster for the Republican Party. They've lost everything.
Hundreds and hundreds of endorsements. People win.
It's a lie.
We just had the Republican Party chair in North Carolina and in Georgia. And
a lot of these are meaningless endorsements where there's like really not anybody running, or there's one real candidate and it's often an incumbent. And to say that Trump's endorsement has any value there, that's really a stretch.
Places we just had congressional candidates, but I mean hundreds of endorsements. And our record is, I think, unmatched anywhere at any time. So I'm working to gain the majority first. And I think it's very important that we do that. I don't know that would have any impact on my decision, however.
That may be true. It may not impact Trump's decision, but it definitely impacts his viability. Just a little bit more of this.
Have that impact on your decision? What's going through your mind on that? A lot of people want to know.
Well, I think I'm just looking at what's going on. I'm very unhappy with what's going on. I look at the border where people are coming in by the millions. It's going to be by the millions very soon.
So notice that how he slips that in. They're coming in by the millions. He knows that that's not really true. So he says soon it's going to be by the millions. And of course it's not.
It already is. And I look at other things, how our country is really, it's America last. I was America first. I look at it and I see what's happening. And I'm not happy about it. So
just meaningless drivel. As I've told you before, the standing and reputation of the United States around the world was greatly diminished under Donald Trump. It's been greatly bolstered early in Joe Biden's presidency. Doesn't mean Biden's perfect. Doesn't mean Biden is even great on policy. It's just the reputation of the United States around the world. So just about every aspect of this completely backwards during the interview. But the key point there, Trump again playing coy. I didn't concede. When the reality is the concession is unnecessary and it's just another way to continue stringing along his low information voters into saying, well, maybe he will come back because technically he didn't concede. Much more of this stuff is to be expected as we get closer and closer to the 2022 midterms, and Trump needs to put some wins up on the board. One of our sponsors is Rise, the science-based app that makes it easy to improve your sleep and your daily energy. Rise helps you figure out what are your sleep needs, helps you achieve your best possible sleep through two core principles of sleep science. The idea of sleep debt, meaning how much sleep you owe your body, and circadian rhythms dictating your energy levels. Each morning, the Rise app tells you how long you'll be groggy, what your energy peaks will be during the day, when you should start winding down for bed for optimal sleep. I've been using the app on my phone every day for a while now, and I started noticing improved sleep and energy within just a few nights, and it's giving me a really good understanding of the relationship between my sleep and when I'm sleeping and my daytime energy. My audience can try Rise for free for a whole week by going to risescience.com/Pakman. The link is underneath this video.